Prepare for a fusion of knowledge and exhilaration where education and excitement collide.
Taking you on an adventure that expands your mind and speaks to your spirit.
I'm Master Nick.
I'm Lady D.
We are the Dom Life.
This podcast contains sexually explicit topics and adult content.
It is intended for listeners 18 and older.
The opinions expressed in this podcast are ours alone, based on our personal thoughts, feelings, and experiences.
We understand that others may have different opinions and experiences, and we respect that. We would love to hear from you. You can reach out to us at www.thedomlife.com. Welcome back, everybody. Coming to you live from Studio 2.
Yay!
Trying out our new cameras in this studio. Seemed to work pretty good in our regular podcast studio. But hopefully the video turns out good for you. If not, let us know. We can make adjustments.
Not for this episode, but maybe for the next.
That's right. But we're coming to you down here. We've got a very special guest with us today. We have KentuckyGirl, who is a part of the Spankos. And that is something up until we met KentuckyGirl a few months ago, several months ago. Didn't even know
months. We're going on a year.
It might have been a year.
Because that was the demonstration in May, right?
I believe so.
Club Tempted.
Yes. Yep. And it was something I'd never heard of before. So we absolutely wanted to get in touch with you, get you on our show, find out a little bit more about the Spankos and all the good things that come along with it. So welcome to the show.
We know that BDSM loves spanking too, but this is a little bit different, right?
This sounds way different, so we cannot wait to get into it. So thank you for coming. Thank you for being here.
I'm so glad that you sat behind the cross during our event, because I'm facing you and you're just sitting there by yourself. And I was like, that's not okay. So afterwards I went up to you and I sat down. I said, hey, are you having fun? Did you enjoy that? Right?
Yes. I placed myself there on purpose.
Right? So that you could see the expression.
I went to that event just because I knew that they were having that demonstration.
Nice.
But first, thank you for having me on here. There's a lot of misconceptions about Spankos, and when you invited me, I thought this is a great way to talk about the Spanko community and give them a positive light and a plug, because a lot of people don't even know that we exist.
Exactly.
Yeah. And we were one of them. And that's the whole reason for this podcast. That's the whole reason that we wanted to do this, was to take away misconceptions from BDSM and anything that falls under that umbrella of BDSM. Now, do you think Spankos falls under the umbrella of BDSM?
That is a good question. In all intents purposes, I think we do, but it is such a branch, and that sometimes Spankos feel like a fish out of water at a BDSM event.
Okay.
But we also feel like a fish out of water in our normal world. So our community is probably less than 0.3 of the population. Right. So to find a Spanko community and build on that, we need a place and
a voice.
And a place and a voice. And so the BDSM community is one of acceptance. And so that's where we have kind of landed.
Perfect.
It is. That's a great way to say it. It's a place of acceptance.
Yep. So we are definitely interested in getting into Spankos and what all they are about. But first, let's learn a little bit about you. When did you first know that you were interested in? All right, now hold on. Let's ask that question because I want to go back a second, because people have different perspectives and different meanings. Do you consider Spankos a kink or a fetish?
I believe that Spankos are that is our sexual identity.
Okay.
And so I don't even really consider it a fetish or a kink. I feel like that is our identity.
Gotcha.
Through that, though, identity, I like, for me example, I also have a punishment fetish. And so
Okay.
a lot of Spankos then create fetishes around spanking, or there's some that just love just anything about spanking.
Okay.
But for most of us, it is our sexual identity.
So if we can go, since he backed it back up, the definition, what we found online was Spankos is a person with a fetish for spanking, usually, but not exclusively sexual. Does that fit for your experience world? I mean, it's a very drilled down version, and we're way going to dive deep in this episode.
Yes.
But for that, is that a good definition, or how would you define it a little bit different, if you would?
That is a kind of a hard question.
Right. So
it is.
I'm going to stop you just for a second. So, and again, for people listening, we have Kentucky Girl. This is her perspective
Yes.
and her opinion. So it may not be your definition if you're a Spankos. Everybody looks at things differently. So I just wanted to clear that up. That
Because you
Yes,
made
thank
that
you.
comment to us. You didn't
Yes.
want to say something that you were afraid
Right.
somebody else would go, but that's not how I
so
see it.
Right.
This
right.
is how Kentucky Girl lives her life. This is her outlook on her life, on her sexual identity. So there you go.
Yes. So when you talk about the sexual nature of that, spanking in all intents and purposes is sex for Spankos.
Sweet.
That is our sexual experience.
Okay.
So sex doesn't need to occur for it to be your sexual experience. The spanking alone.
Yes.
Wow.
Right.
Okay. Good to know.
Yeah. When did you first learn that this was going to be your sexual identity?
Well, I did not really learn that was my sexual identity till I was 42, when I finally kind of embraced it.
Okay.
But I first knew that I didn't even know I was different, but I knew about my fetish at age 5. And if you talk to Spankos, most of them will tell you when they were a young child is when they started thinking about spanking, but didn't obviously understand it. And this is not because Spankos were spanked as a child. This has really nothing to do with how your childhood is. Now, there are Spankos that were spanked. And there were Spankos that weren't. So we all come from a different place. But just to give you a little perspective of when you're a child with this, we were especially my age, in the next generation, they're using the internet.
Right.
But for my age,
I'm there with you.
I was looking at Webster's dictionary. So when we were sitting in school and we had extra time, I was looking up words: spanking, punishment, whipping, beltings, writing, corner time, like all these things that go around spanking and punishment. But I didn't understand why.
Right.
Right.
You are not the first guest who mentioned that at a very young age they realized they were different, that realized they were different than other people. I may not have realized I was different then, but then as you get a little bit older and you're like, now all of a sudden you're worried that what you're thinking is bad or dirty because it's not the norm. And when you talk to somebody, your first boyfriend, all of a sudden every romance is all this sweet and beautiful, and you're going, but that doesn't do it for me. That's not what I need. Right. So it becomes, very young age, thinking and realizing you're different. It's the norm in our community.
Right.
Yes. It's the norm. So it's not whether you were spanked or not. Were you spanked as a child?
So I think when I was really young, I might have had like a little swat here and there. I grew up in a household that I believe if I crossed that line, that could happen.
Okay. So were you a good girl?
Yes. And, and that was always the huge struggle for me. I was a people pleaser and I didn't like to disappoint people. So anybody in authority, if I was in trouble, I would immediately almost break down and cry. On the inside though, I wanted that feeling. Right. I also went to a school that believed in corporal punishment. And so they used the paddle quite a bit, either the teachers or the principals. And I was always fascinated, and I would ask my friends who got in trouble.
They showed us. They weren't doing it still. The ruler across your knuckles was allowed, but the paddle itself had people's names on it, and they showed us that at school. But they were not using the paddle at the point that I was in school.
I got used the paddle once when I was in school, maybe twice.
You got beat with the paddle, not used the paddle.
The paddle hit me.
Yeah.
That's when I learned. That's when I learned real quick. I don't like that.
You don't like that? Right. And so I was fascinated.
Okay.
So that was really hard to grow up in that environment, and want to please. And if that had ever happened, I would have been mortified and I would have been really upset. But on the inside, I was like, I want to experience that. But why?
Right.
Why do I want to do that? Why?
Right.
And it took me a long time to get to the why through.
So you said 42, right? So you said 42 was when you finally decided to truly explore. Did you have any kinky experiences prior to 42?
I tried to talk to my husband, probably in my 30s, and tried to talk to him about that. And he did great. He was like, oh, so he went to his old childhood home, picked up a ping pong paddle, and he surprised me. And he came home and he literally bent me over the washer and spanked me with the ping pong paddle, but then immediately wanted to have sex. Nothing against, nothing wrong with that. But that did not fulfill this.
Right.
It is not.
Okay.
Spanking is not foreplay.
Right.
See, that's a big difference.
It is
because for me, that's foreplay.
It's right. It is the entree. It is everything.
Okay, so have there been situations in which you enjoyed sex immediately after because the partner and you connected in such a way, or would you want to have sex a totally different time? And do you have sex related to?
Oh, wow.
And you can.
That's a kind of a complicated question. No, the short answer is really no.
Okay. But there's others that might.
There are others that, yes, there's others that might. Orgasm after spanking can really heighten what just happened, but actual penetration sex or having sex really doesn't really fulfill that need.
Okay.
Sometimes if you think about, like we just talked about, that's the entree. After meals, sometimes you have dessert.
Yes.
But most meals, you don't have dessert.
Because you've already full up on.
You have dessert every time.
He's not lying.
Yeah.
I swear he's not. He has dessert all the time.
Right.
But I understand that. So you filled up on the entree.
I filled up.
And the dessert isn't going to give you any more than pleasure than what you've already had.
Right. Now, just to throw in a complication of this, and this is for me personally, I'm also a submissive. And at times, if I've engaged in spanking and I was with a dominant and it became that's what they wanted to do next. And it was all about control and dominance. And then penetration sex came after that. That would fulfill me.
Because it completes that whole session the whole time.
Yes. And it's more about that dominant wanting that than
you
wanting.
Pleasing it and you pleasing that individual as a submissive.
Yes.
Okay.
But in general, spanking communities and parties, you don't hear much anything about sexual penetration. Now, not to say that it doesn't happen privately in people's rooms, but for the most part, you never hear sex even mentioned.
Wow.
That's
totally
just
different.
It is, because when I think of it and I think of getting spanked or flogged or whipped or paddled, My next activity would be to have sex and have Master Nick behind me so I can feel those bruises and marks and stuff. So for me, that's the fulfillment rather than just getting hit. Although we've been in the dungeon, done a whole flogging session, and almost not had an orgasm. And I turned and I said, are we done? I haven't come. But for you, that's different. And for most Spankos, like from the scenes, and do you call them scenes? Like the scenes that occur?
Yes, we mostly call it play.
Okay. We call it dungeon play during our episodes a lot.
We call it play. And most of the time there's not even orgasms afterwards. It's usually, big hug, maybe some cuddling and we're finished.
Okay. So with the orgasm, have you ever had an orgasm while being spanked? Does it heighten your senses so much that you can't have one?
I get jealous because there are people that can do that. I have only done it once, but I was in very much control of doing that.
Right.
But there are people that definitely have that in our community.
Okay. All right.
So back to you, because we keep diving deep into this.
I know,
it's beautiful. It's beautiful. So do you have a funny or interesting story that revolves around your kinky, something that you've done?
Sexual identity.
Your sexual identity.
Gosh, I mean, like in our community at parties, there's a lot of funny stories that I could share. And we can go down that road if you'd like to, or if we want to back up just a little bit. I think it might be good to talk about, because you just mentioned flogging, and the difference between impact play and BDSM and spanking.
Perfect.
Might help us then lead to the funny story.
Perfect.
Gotcha.
So you are a submissive.
I am a submissive.
And you usually play in dungeons play, or you are doing it privately with Master Nick. For spanking or Spankos, I never think about flogging.
Okay.
So our implements are typically different.
Okay.
We are more typically domestic. So our go-to implements are hairbrushes, wooden spoons, paddles, and belts. And the English.
You guys save some money. I'm just saying.
Yeah. And the English has brought in the straps and canes.
Okay.
So those are our go-to implements.
Right.
Okay. Paddles? No paddles?
Paddles.
Okay.
Yes, paddles. Paddles are very on the discipline school kind of mindsets.
Right.
Wooden spoon and hairbrushes are very much your
totally.
domestic.
I got hit with a wooden spoon half my life. I mean,
right.
As a kid is what I'm saying. Like, pick it up, bang.
So like when Spankos walk into kitchens and see wooden spoons, immediately that's where our mind goes. This is kind of a funny story though. Spankos in airports. I love going through TSA because men have to take off their belts, and to watch a man take off their belt and watch that process and how they pull it through the loop, that's where my mind goes. So spanking.
So all you out there, when you're taking off your belts,
so next time,
just
please.
I know what I'm going to do next time.
Because then you will catch somebody's eye.
I know what I'm doing next time. It's coming out in one swift pull.
Oh, right.
It's going to look like I'm pulling a sword out of the sheath.
Jingle it and then wrap it in half. You got it.
Just wait. We're going to do a TikTok on that. Master Nick being all Dom.
So spanking is on our brain all the time. And that's something that we, as much as I wanted to erase it and get rid of it.
You were in a marriage that didn't include it. So of course.
But you think about it every single day.
Because it's your identity, your sexual identity.
Yes.
So I don't feel that the submissive side of it goes like that as much. But here's the thing. After a week or two. So not every thought in my head, every sexual thought has to do with a dominant, right?
Mm-hmm.
But my normal thinking, daily, whatever, isn't. But when it's not being met, when my submissive is not being taken care of, I start getting grumbly and there's something off and I'm feeling bad and I start poking the bear because I have a master that is supposed to take care of me, and my way to let him know is supposed to, submissively bring over my collar and hand it to him. That's not what I do. I poke him. I just start doing all bad submissive things in order to get that reaction.
That is very, very similar to Spankos. We love to poke the bear. That's showing, hey, we need attention. And Spankos feel the same way. Our body craves it. It needs it. It feels unsettled. Feels unsettled.
So what happens, and I know we're popping all over the place because this is amazing. No, it's just, this is amazing. But one of the things that I'm curious about is, the terms, what are the terms for somebody being spanked and somebody spanking?
Okay. Well, you either have like the spanky and the spanker.
Okay.
We use top, bottom a lot. There are dynamics with, you have daddy, little girl dynamics. We do have, some people do have traditional dom sub relationships, but their core is going to be the spanking.
So that leads me to, have you met and interacted with somebody that said, I'm a spanker, like that's my role, but they weren't Spankos? Like, you figure out that their mental state is a dominant or BDSM or something other than spank.
And
Spankos.
that is where I think not that there's conflict. We engage on FetLife, like a lot of the BDSM community does, and that is where I really struggle to find partners or dynamics. And I'm not criticizing dominance,
Right?
But
No.
who? But when I try to engage with them they'll say, "Oh, I want to spank your ass." Immediately, that typically turns me off because I know that they don't understand what that traditional Spanko language. We have our own love language. And so I can usually, when they say, "Oh yeah, I'm into spanking," I'm like, "Okay, share that experience with me."
Right.
What does that mean? And so it can get lonely and isolating because you're trying to find unicorns.
Right.
And luckily that I have found a wonderful community that I can use that love language. But we have to attend national parties or set up, there's house parties, but I travel because it is to find those people that really understand. And
hopefully by doing this podcast and getting the word out there, you might find somebody in Kentucky, a little pocket group that isn't part of the national.
Right.
There are a few of us. I actually just went to a national party in Texas, in Dallas, and there was a couple from Louisville. And so we were able to connect a little bit, and we plan to have dinner soon and talk. So there are a few of us. It's just having that core community.
Right.
So will you enjoy spanking from somebody you just met? Or do you have to kind of build some kind of relationship with them to fully enjoy it?
That is also what we find is slightly different from the BDSM community. When I have gone to local dungeons or any dungeon, I feel like it's really hard because they want to negotiate so much more.
Right.
Or they're already partnered, and then there's a whole thing of you got to go through all this. Spanking parties there's not as much negotiation. Now, it is important to negotiate always. I know it's always consent and consensual. Like, and our community strives, to practice all the safe words are still the same.
Right.
But when you're in a party suite and somebody comes over to you and says, "Hey, do you want to play?" And I'll be like, "Sure." And we're in a public space, and then we talk for a few seconds,
Right.
And literally, it can be a few seconds, and I'm over their lap.
Right. Okay.
We do a lot of our spanking over. We call it OTK, over the knee.
Over
So that's usually how most of our spankings start out. And then the code of dress, and usually in that short negotiation, it's like, can I pull your shorts down? Can I pull your jeans down? Can I move to pulling your panties down?
Right.
We talked about this, about like our fetish wear, and what we Spanko bottoms are very into panties.
Right. Because I said, when you attend different events, I asked if when you're at this hotel,
Right.
are you into the fetish wear? Are there people wearing? And she said the majority of us, it's all about the underwear, and we change them often.
Yes, we have many different pairs for different activities, and what our vibe is, and if we want to poke the bear, we've got panties that really will poke the bear.
I need to get a picture of that. So one of them, just a picture, we can post it on our website of the.
I will definitely send
of
you
a
this.
poking the bear with a Spankos.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, because that's. I mean, and again, I see your point when you visit a BDSM dungeon, because people into BDSM like me, I enjoy spanking.
Mm-hmm.
You don't spank me, but I enjoy spanking. But there is so much more in my toolbox that I want to use and I want to explore with you. It would be hard for me to do just a play with only spanking, and although you're sitting here saying you would enjoy it and that's your sexual identity and you would love it, I would still feel like I didn't do enough for you, because there is so much in my toolbox. So yeah, that I can see, because like you said, there's a lot more negotiating in BDSM, what is allowed, what is your hard limits, and they vary. I mean, they're wide. For you all, it's all about spanking. So it really narrows down. Your negotiations are done. You're down to one topic now.
Right. Do you like the
and it can, and the question that you asked me was like just casual, like fun with the stranger pickup play. You can have more negotiations as you build something with that person.
Right.
But for the beginning, you just want the interaction.
Yes.
It's time. Let's go.
And then you and it's probably the same in BDSM. But if I'm over somebody's lap and I want more or things, there's easy ways to poke that bear. Or
I say green.
Yeah. Or they'll ask me a question that I don't answer, and they're like, okay.
Here's some more.
Yeah, here we go.
Let's amp this up a little
We're going to
bit.
amp it up. So
Oh my
there's
God, I love
definitely
it.
subtle ways to negotiate. Or somebody playing new, they'll be like, they'll check in, and you can kind of gauge on what that person
Well,
is.
and again, since it's a very, very small top, because I would assume that after a while they become expert, especially if they're truly spankers, they become experts in body language with you over the knee.
Oh yeah, you're right there.
The wiggle, the jiggle, it's pretty. I mean, he does a really great job of introducing people into BDSM. We do it at the club all the time, and he pulls out his equipment and he does all the little things. And he has to, because there's so much, he has to talk about each little piece and what we're doing. So it does take a lot more than I would assume.
And that is one reason when we talked that night at Club Tempted, I knew I didn't have to negotiate that night because it was just a demo. And then, I was like, and I think you asked me a couple of questions like, I'm fine. Like, let's go. And it was great. Like, I enjoyed playing with you that night.
Right.
And it was with a flogger.
Yes.
I was that night, I had not engaged in spanking at all. I was needing something.
Right.
And
I
that was
like,
sufficient.
And that was
for
sufficient.
That.
Like
Right.
it felt
Now,
good.
If I had known all of this that night,
He would have pulled out the paddle.
I would have had a paddle or my little yardstick or
Uh-huh.
something. I could have done more to
Yes.
to kind of help and
Yeah,
and
right.
enjoy a little bit
But-
more. But
But that wasn't the vibe at that point, and
Right.
that wasn't what our demonstration. So I can, I'm going to play to what
Right.
is there.
Right.
So is there such a thing as subspace in your world?
There is definitely. A lot of people do get to that spot. I kind of struggle with actually, if you want to, saying that it's actual subspace, but I definitely get to the points that
Spacey.
I'm spacey, or we are going really hard and really intense, and I not getting enough. Like, you could continue on. Like,
right. You can amp it up, and you shouldn't be able to.
And it's just going that way. And the feeling afterwards is pretty incredible.
Because of the endorphin release and all that,
Yes.
like the feels of the endorphin in your body. Now, does that mean if you have subspace, do you think it's different? You said some people feel it. You've talked to other people about it who are in the Spankos community.
Oh yeah, it is talked about a lot. When a lot of us are doing more like called either punishments, or we call them punishments, you're not going to be going into subspace during those.
I do.
You do? Okay.
I mean, the punishment part of it is part of our world.
Right.
Not a true punishment. Then nobody gets to go to subspace in our world.
Right. So, but if we're playing for some like sensation and just stress relief and building, that is typically when that we're going to go into more of that subspace. For me, like when we're playing with punishments, it's still that role play of being punished. And so for me, and punishments can get really intense and really hard. But it's not because of that mind space in my mind.
Right.
It's more of a punishment role play. I'm typically not going to go into subspace. Now the endorphins are still going to be kicking, and
you're still going to feel good. It's
Yes.
just you're not going to get spacey. And so afterwards, do you have sub drop?
Yes. I usually don't have as much sub drop if I'm playing with a regular partner, and it's regular. Most of my sub drop is going to come from leaving a national party.
Right.
And that is because we are engaging from Thursday to Monday. We are being spanked all weekend long. Usually our bottoms are toast, are swollen, and in that, and being around community for that long, and being around people that know us and have our love language, coming home from that typically is where I'm going to experience more of the sub drop.
So you've said it a couple of times. There's like national play parties. What does it entail? What does a play party? What what does it encompass? Like for the weekend?
For the weekend. So there is national parties. There's one in Georgia that is in March. And then there's one in Texas that's in Dallas. It's in June. And then there's one in Vegas that is on Labor Day weekend and President's Day weekend. And then there's another one in Houston in November. There's other little ones, but those are the main ones that are spread out. I think there's also there was one in Chicago, and they have changed names and are rebuilding. So there might be a couple in Chicago. How
would one find that? How's the best way to find other Spankos or these?
FetLife.
FetLife is the place to go.
Yes.
Okay. So what does it look like?
So you want all the good details of this. Usually they start on Thursdays and end on Monday mornings. And just side note, just because we've talked about the different implements and things, the rules typically are Thursday and Friday you play with leather, and you play lightly or and hand spankings, and then usually Saturday and Sunday the big guns are coming out. and you can tell in the scene at the play parties at night that it's everybody's really ramping up. Canes are coming out, the big straps are coming out, like
so they kind of ease you into it,
yeah,
that way you don't get your ass beat and burnt and done for the weekend.
Yeah,
on the first
you don't want to
night.
be taken out of play on the first night. You want to be, everybody wants to be taken out of play on Sunday night.
So what's the leather? What does leather mean?
Leather typically means belts and straps.
Yep. Okay.
And a lot of hand spanking.
Right.
I really have a tremendous respect for tops. I do not know how their hands and their shoulders last a weekend.
Right. My hand would not. My shoulder would. My
Mm-hmm.
hand would not.
With the well,
I mean,
yeah,
if I was using my hand, if I was spanking with my hand, my hand does not take that very well.
no.
Oh,
One of our
I've
friends has a
busted-
glove
Yeah.
that he puts on just
I
because
usually
it helps.
wind up busting 3 or 4
yes.
blood vessels, and
And-
my hands swell up and turn purple.
And if you look at Top's hands by the end of the weekend, but
Have you ever topped anyone?
Yes.
Yay!
Yes.
That was a question I didn't even think to ask until you said.
I do not at parties. You can put on your name tag if you're a bottom, top, or switch. I never put that I'm a switch on my name tag. Purposefully that's not typically what I go to.
Right.
But through experiences, there are times even like with my girlfriends that all of a sudden I'm like, no, sorry. It's my turn. I do switch with a few male bottoms that I've worked. It's just kind of developed.
Right. Me too. I switch it up. I'm switching.
Yeah.
I prefer, for my own personal pleasure, I prefer the bottom submissive role. But I highly enjoy beating on somebody else and learning. That is another whole experience. And I will say that I hit Dom space this weekend, but I don't want to get too far into it. We can talk about it because we're going to be doing a whole episode on, we just attended a summit ourselves, and I hit Dom space, which actually caused some health concerns afterwards from overheating.
Oh, yeah. When I do top, it just makes me have more respect for tops and dominants because
It's a lot of work.
the energy, also watching the bottoms, and there's
Making
a lot
sure
to
that
it. It's not easy.
No,
You don't have an easy job.
I call it being a second full-time job.
Because
It is.
we are also in a relationship, married, home. So he has more than just small periods of time.
Right.
It's an all the time thing here.
Right.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
It is tough.
a lot of
right.
a lot of accountability.
we
So,
got
but
distracted.
I know.
again.
Back to parties.
To how
So-
the weekend goes for the
Okay.
event. So
usually Thursday night is usually registration, icebreakers, mingling. Everybody's excited to see each other. Then usually, so most of ours are at big hotels, and they have suites that are open all the time for people to mingle and play. And we don't need a lot of space. Like you have a sectional couch here, and so at any moment you could be talking, sitting next to somebody talking, and next to you somebody's getting spanked. Like and the conversation keeps going. Everybody's in this room.
it doesn't. Nobody needs.
And of course, some of us are watching because we're like,
Right.
and then some of us are like, God, that's not me. After I always say when I'm on a plane going to a national party, I swear my bottom is talking to me, going, "What are we doing? Why are you doing this to me again?
Right.
Like, what? No, we don't like this. It hurts."
Right.
And Spankos, most of us are not masochists. So what are we doing? I don't know.
It's like the connection between your brain and your butt just didn't quite mend or something.
And always that first spanking at a party, I'm like, I'll get spanked, and I'm like, oh, I'm still a Spanko. It's liking this. And sometimes it does take a little while to ease in, and sometimes I'm like, why did that hurt so much? And then I'm back to being spanked again 10 minutes later, and eventually
10 minutes later.
eventually my body catches up, and it's like, okay, yeah, we're in this.
So at these parties, is it mostly couples?
No,
So you have like singles that just show up.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
I mean there are married couples. There's
there's a registration process.
Yes,
this is not just show up. I just
Right?
want
No,
to
no,
make sure.
yeah. No, that's not what I was getting.
I didn't want people thinking like, "Hey, we had a little conversation about a fun time situation in the elevator that you had."
yes. No, yes, it is. Yeah, everybody's vetted and registered. But to answer your question, there are married people. There are people who are in dynamics and then married to other people. There are singles. It's there's a wide variety of ages. We go from some parties are 18. Most parties though are 21.
Mm-hmm.
And go to 80-year-olds.
Right.
I just posted a thing on FET about my last party, and somebody asked me the last night, what was your favorite thing this weekend, or your favorite scene or whatever? And I was like, I can't pick a favorite because everybody I engage with that weekend should have been my favorite. Like I had so many favorite moments, but to me, my favorite moment of a party is on Saturday night. We have a formal dinner. In this last party, there were 400 people.
Holy shit.
And we are all eating a meal together. We are all ages, races, genders.
Yep.
But we all have this language.
Mm-hmm.
And I always want to protect it fiercely. There's drama in every community, and I'm not going to say ours does not have that. But to able to come together is our, and then we all have a dance afterwards. And then that's Saturday night, and then we hit the suites, and then we are playing hard that night. It's everything's a green light that night.
Right. All right, so I'm going to have to stop right there. We are currently out of time. We will be back next week. We'll bring Kentucky Girl back to finish up
It went
the
by
second
so
episode.
fast. Like, I can't believe we're already through one episode, and it's going to be a part 2, and we
Right.
loved it.
So stick around. Kentucky Girl will be back next week. See you.
Please follow, like, and share our podcast.
Make sure to visit thedomlife.com, where you can find pictures and other details about the Dom Life podcast. And through the Contact Us button, you can ask questions or provide recommendations for future episodes.
We want to explore your kink too.
Be sure to check out upcoming events to see where our adventures are taking us and our photo gallery to where we've been.
Thank you for joining us on this journey. We hope you had fun listening and learning with us.
Till next time, keep calm and remember your safe word.
Red, red, red.